At 70 degrees Celsius, the forest makes no sound. Snow absorbs everything. Even fear feels muted. A small wooden house stands alone. Smoke rises from the chimney without pause. If it stops, life inside ends within hours. He wakes before dawn, not by habit but by cold. The fire is weakening. His breath is already visible indoors. Wood meets flame. The stove crackles. Survival resumes. One more morning earned. The door opens. Cold strikes like weight, not shock. The forest watches without reaction. He walks the same path for wood. No rush. Sweat is dangerous. Control keeps him alive. He has lived like this for 20 years. Not trapped. Not lost. By choice. This is not loneliness. This is what remains when everything unnecessary is gone. The forest does not change much here. Snow covers the ground for most of the year, thick and heavy, swallowing sound. Trees stand still, their branches frozen in place, as if movement itself is optional. At minus 70 degrees Celsius, nothing happens quickly. Even time moves with caution. In the middle of this forest stands the small wooden house. It is not large. It was never meant to be. It exists for one purpose, only to hold heat and keep the wind out for a few hours at a time. Smoke rises constantly from its metal chimney. If the smoke stops, the house loses its meaning. The man who lives here wakes before daylight. He does not need an alarm. The cold is enough. When the fire weakens, the air inside changes. Breathing becomes heavier, sharper. That is how he knows it is time to get up. He adds wood to the stove with slow, practiced movements. His hands do not hesitate. He has done this thousands of times. The sound of burning wood is the only sound inside the house. There is a radio on a small shelf. It does not always work, but when it does, he listens. News from places that feel distant and unreal: cities, markets, arguments, celebrations. He listens quietly, not because the news affects him, but because voices remind him that the world still exists beyond the trees. The radio runs on batteries he assembled himself. Out here, nothing is replaced. Everything is repaired. Once the fire is stable, he puts on his coat. It is heavy and stiff with frost. The door opens slowly. Outside, the cold hits instantly. It is not shocking anymore. It is familiar. The forest waits. Every day, he walks the same path to collect wood. The snow is deep, but the trail is pressed down by repetition. He does not rush. Sweat is dangerous here. Movement must remain controlled. Wood is life. Without enough wood, the house cannot stay warm. Without warmth, nothing else matters. Food, sleep, rest, all of it depends on the fire. He carries the wood back in several trips. One load is never enough. The house was built by his own hands. Logs cut from the forest, gaps filled with old rope fibers, pressed tight to keep the wind out. Instead of glass, thin plastic sheets cover the windows. Light comes in, cold comes in too. He knows this. If the house were built better, it would stay warm longer. But better materials are far away. The forest gave him what it could. Inside, he eats little. Once a day, sometimes twice. When food is low, he eats less. Hunger is easier to manage than cold. A pot sits on the stove, water slowly heating. Steam fogs the plastic windows. For a moment, the house feels almost soft. Sometimes, exhaustion pulls him into deep sleep. On those mornings, he wakes with frost in his hair and beard. His breath forms clouds inside the room. The fire has almost died. He does not panic. Panic wastes energy. He gets up and fixes it. This is how life continues. In warmer months, animals come closer. Bears leave tracks near the trees. Wolves move silently through the forest. He sees them often. They do not bother him. There is enough space for everyone. Enough food, most of the time. He respects their distance. They respect his. He lives far from the nearest
Did you
village.
bring what I asked for?
The walk takes
I have it.
hours and is
And
only
you.
possible when the weather allows it. He goes when he must to exchange supplies, to hear how people sound when they talk to each other. He does not stay long. The village feels crowded, loud. Time moves too fast there. Here, every action has weight. Water comes from the lake. He breaks the ice carefully and fills his containers. Ice is cleaner than snow. Frozen water carries fewer problems. He learned that long ago. Knowledge here is practical. If it does not keep you alive, it is forgotten. When his body feels weak, he makes tea from spruce needles. When sickness comes, he uses young aspen leaves soaked in warm water. The forest provides medicine, if you know where to look. At night, he stores food outside. There is no refrigerator. There is no need for one. The cold preserves everything. The only concern is hiding it well enough. Bears remember where they find food. Sometimes, when the house is warm and quiet, he cooks more than usual. Bread, heavy and simple. Flour, water, soda. On rare occasions, pancakes or fried dough, small reminders that days can still be different. He does not celebrate often. Years ago, he lost his family. There is no long explanation for it. Loss does not need detail. It settles into the body and stays. Part of the reason he came here was to escape the noise that followed him everywhere else. In the forest, grief does not echo. When night comes, the forest grows darker, but not louder. He sits near the fire and listens to the wood crack. Outside, the temperature continues to fall. Inside, the fire holds. Sometimes, he speaks softly, not to anyone who can answer. He speaks to memory. He remembers his mother, her voice, her hair turning gray. He tells her where he is. He tells her he is still here, that he learned how to live in a place where nothing forgives mistakes. The forest does not respond, but it does not reject him either. The fire burns through the night, and as long as it does, the house remains alive.